was going to say good morning and welcome to Kingsbury Water Park, but it's actually early afternoon now and I've done absolutely no filming whatsoever because the weather is pants. It's hammered it down continuously from the moment I got here. Everything is absolutely drenched and it's just awful. Really, no idea when you can hear me, but hello, seems to be working, but even the audio gear got absolutely drenched. Let's have a look, see if I can find. Look at that, it's like a wet hedgehog. Put it on anyway, see. We'll see. Well, anyway, it's stopped raining for now. But yeah, it's been absolutely monsoon weather, it really has. Caught nothing yet either. Been here 3 or 4 hours. Tried threw everything at them so far. Not happening. It's a big old sheet of water. 48 acres or thereabouts. Hold on, let me just move so I can sit down. As you can see, everything is absolutely drenched. So it's been a horrifying day. It's a big old sheet of water, as I was saying, 40 odd acres. Some big pike in here. Yeah, I should mention that I am pike fishing. But I had a recce the other day. I've been down a couple of times actually now. I actually did a video on how I approach big waters like this. Especially, I haven't fished this place for, well, last time I fished it was 15, I think. But I've done a recce, and I did a video on how I approach a big water like this, especially when I haven't fished it for years. But yeah, basically, I spent a couple of days walking around it, and on both days I was on the southerly end of the pit. We're on a southerly wind at the moment, and I'm convinced the bait fish are down this end. In fact, I've got grebes working the swim now, and I've got cormorants been on here today. I've seen cormorants here for a couple of days. So I'm convinced the fish are down this end, and if the fish are down this end, the pike will follow. Unfortunately, the pike are not playing ball so far. So I've got one bait in the open water, chucked out, and I've got one. There's a big sunken tree just to my left, so I've got one just off that. It is quite weedy as well. So we've not had in real cold weather yet. It's what is it now? Sort of beginning of December, or I don't know. Is it the 10th or something? So we've not had a really cold weather. So I think the fish are quite spread out still. Not really shoaled up yet. But yeah, I think I'm in the right area. So we can only keep our fingers crossed, really. Just keep changing things up. I've only got a few hours. You're only allowed to fish at Kingsbury till 5 and then they shut the gates, which is a shame because I like to fish just after dark normally. But we'll see how we get on. I'm hoping the camera's still working because it got absolutely soaking wet. I was setting the gear up, was chucking it down the rain. I'd set the camera up when I got here. It was just starting to spit, so I set the camera up and I was about to do a bit to camera, and then I was setting up and the heavens opened, and of course I forgot the camera was set up and it was absolutely soaked. I forgot my cloths. I had them washed after the last session. And then on top of that, to compound everything, I cut my finger with a knife, a filleting knife, when I was cutting a dead bait head off. So yeah, it's not been a great start to the session. But do you know what? I wasn't going to do. Do you know what? I genuinely considered just like, let's just fish today, not film. Come back another day. But I thought, do you know what? No. You know, this channel's not about catching fish. as I've said dozens of times, this channel is about getting out on the bank amongst nature, and resting the mind, getting your mental health correct and getting it right. And I still get that, even if I don't catch a fish. So I thought, no, just film. This is the good, the bad and the ugly of angling. Still got plenty of time, still might catch. But even if we don't, I'll still feel better for it. I'm still enjoying myself despite the rain. And already today I've seen a kingfisher, I've seen grebes working, I've seen a heron. I've had a rat run off up at the bank with one of my old dead baits, which was not so good. I don't do rats. But yeah, there's plenty of wildlife here to see. Plenty of ducks. We've got grey lag in front of me now. Canadians. There's a heron stood off at the end of the tree at the moment. So yeah. But yeah, as I say, I've got 2 rods out. I've got one on, what have I got on at the moment? I've got a smelt, ledyard smelt. No, I haven't. I've got a ledyard sardine. Right, and that's popped up close to the tree. A sunken tree. And then I've got a kebab rig with bits of roach chucked out into the open water. And what I'm doing every 10 minutes or so, I'm just literally just moving the bait and just picking the rod up, putting a turn of the reel on. Just turning the reel once. And what that can do, that can trigger a feeding response. So quite often, if you watch any of the underwater footage of pike feeding, there's plenty of them on YouTube. The Ginger Fisherman does a good one. You'll see that pike will quite often just sit there looking at the bait, and they can sit there for an hour and just do nothing, but they know it's there. But as soon as you move the bait, it triggers a feeding response because he thinks it's getting away from him, or he thinks somebody else, another fish, might grab it. So quite often you can sort of move the bait just a foot, and you'll instantly get a run. And I've had that happen to me dozens of times. It's a method I've done for years, pike fishing. Never sit on my hands, never just sit there and wait. Every 10 minutes so move the bait. After an hour, if I've got no bite, change the bait and repeat. So yeah, but yeah, everything is absolutely sodden, soaking wet, including me, to the point, like, see how wet it's been. I've got bath fingers, when you've been in the bath too long. Bloody nightmare. But you know what, it's great to be out. It's actually really mild. I put my suit on today, my full suit, and thermal suit, and I'm glad I did because of the waterproof properties of it. But sweating I am, because it's thermal lined. Sweating. I'm glad I did. I was going to put my underlayer on as well. I didn't put it on today because I thought, I got my thermal suit on, it should be alright. And it's forecast really mild today. It's really mild with a southerly, but wet. So it's actually really good conditions as well. Not massively for pike. I mean, I'm still traditionalist. I like my pike fishing. I like to be -3, freezing cold. But yeah, this is actually bream weather. You do well on the bream today, which ironically enough, I've seen quite a few bream topping. But there's plenty of life out there on the water as well. You can see fish that are topping, and honestly, it's like autumn. It's ridiculous how active fish are. So yeah, I mean, I don't think the fish are shoaled up at the minute. I think they're just spread out still because it's just so mild. But we need a cold snap is what we need. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. I will run through some rigs later. But at the minute, I'm just waiting for this rain to ease off again. It's spitting still, but I think after 1 o'clock, I'm not sure what the time is now. What time is it? Yeah, it's 20 to 1. Apparently from 1 o'clock it's going to be, the weather's going to be alright. So, we'll see how we get on. So I've rung the changes. I've still got the left hand rod out onto the bush, so I'm absolutely convinced that'll produce a fish. It's got to. If it doesn't, well, there you go. But on the second rod that had the kebab rig on it, sorry, I'm just pouring a brew. I've changed now to a float. I'm doing what I normally do. I don't know why I didn't do it to start with, to be honest. I put on a float and I've chucked it out sort of between me and the island, and I've set the depth just above the weed, and I'm just drifting it around the swim, trying to search out a few fish. You know, too many pike anglers will sit there behind motionless rods, but if you just keep working at it, generally speaking, you'll catch a fish. Sorry, I thought it was a bit of interest then. Joe, a surefire way of getting yourself a run or getting a bite is to pour yourself a coffee. You can guarantee as soon as you sit down and get a coffee, it'll just scream off and you get coffee all over you. And the ensuing panic. So yeah, that's drifting around nicely actually. There's a bit of a breeze on the water. So yeah, hopefully. I like to fish a float. I don't think that you can beat just watching a float drift away. It's the best way of fishing for me. I love it. Nice coffee though. Bought myself a new flask. Albeit it's really muddy and wet now. I only had one of them little ones before, you know, the little stainless steel ones. Basically get 2 cups of coffee out of it. That's no good to me. For somebody who loves a brew. I used to be honest, until last year, I used to just bring my cooking gear with me. But I like to try and keep mobile. I mean, if you're carrying cooking gear and everything around with you, Jesus. It's a pain in the neck. But yeah. So I don't know whether you've already seen it, but last week's video on the anchor, river anchor, that was a really good video. I really enjoyed that one. Caught that cracking chub as well, and it was a proper reminiscent session. He is sort of really reminiscent. There was a lot of memories down there for me. So if you haven't already seen it, why not? Check it out here. I caught a cracking chub, as you'll see in the video. But yeah, Canadian goose is taking an interest in my float. Yeah, I just got a float, just drifting about probably 30 metres out, and there's a load of weed out there. I've been struggling to get through it even with pop-ups. So I thought, you know what, I'll put a float on and just I'll set the depth just above the weed. And just, hopefully by just tripping it and just drifting it slowly over the weed, we'll find a fish. Maybe. But yeah. I've just had a magpie land, because I've got all my dead baits in a bucket here. I thought, oh, what's that noise behind me? Assuming it'd be a rat again. I looked behind and there was a bloody magpie in me. Well, eyeing up my dead baits. He certainly wasn't shy. But yeah, the rain stopped at last. Still grey and overcast though, which is good. I don't mind that, that's good. But I tell you what, when I get in tonight, I'm going to have to do some cleaning. All my gear's absolutely soaked. Every tackle box is full of water. Oh my word. That's the downside of fishing in the winter. I actually prefer fishing in the winter. I don't know why. I think it's because my favourite species, but obviously my favourite species is zander, pike, chub. And that's obviously that's the best time to fish for them. Come the summer, I do. Obviously, I like my tench fishing. I like my bream fishing. I'm not massive on carp these days, to be honest. Carp fishing. Without sounding arrogant, been there, done that. I can't see the point in keep catching carp willy-nilly over and over. I've had carp to £55. I've had tons of 30s in this UK. I just can't see the point in just keep catching carp for the sake of catching carp. If I do good carp fishing these days, I tend to just go on a runs water and just have a nice day's fishing. I'm not bothered about catching big ones anymore. I certainly wouldn't bivvy up overnight for them. Not unless I can park my camper van next to the water. I like my own comforts too much these days. I'm getting too fat and old for lying on bed chairs all night. Bugger that for a game. Young man's game. Do you know what? Is that a bite? No. It's just the wind. There's a nice gentle breeze now. It's actually drifted quite far away. I'm sort of struggling to see it now. I'm gonna have to rein it in a bit. But I'll put a big old pipe bung with veins on it. It's like a fluted design. Don't really know how to explain it. It's one of the Fox Rage ones. But I thought with the fluted design, it's got like ridges in it, that I'd catch the wind better than the normal float. I will run through the float setup in a bit. Just waiting for the sun to come out a bit. Still, it stopped raining, but because I'm under trees, it just keeps dropping on me. Feels like it's still raining. Yeah, but we'll see how we get on. Hopefully the next time we bring you back we'll be caught a fish. So I'll catch you in a bit. Oh, let me just fresh baits on. Just put fresh bait on both rods. I've slightly changed position of the one on the ledger because there's quite a lot of weed, and I've come to one side of that weed, still on the edge of the snag on the sunken tree, but just come across, and what I've done, I've popped it right up to the surface and then just slowly wound it back down, so I'm just popped up above the weed. And what I've done with the float, I've put a roach on there, match the hatch as they call it. So obviously naturally they'll be feeding on bream and roach. So the ledger's got a mackerel on it, and before I had a smelt on the float. But now what I've done, I've put a roach on there. But anyway, Kingsbury Water Park. So as you all know, this series is basically these 6 programs are basically centred around waters that made me as an angler. And you may be asking, well, Kingsbury Water Park, you said earlier on that you hadn't fished it for blah amount of time. Well, that is true. But the reason I'm fishing here, Kingsbury Water Park today, is because there was quite a significant moment in my angling career happened right here on this lake, and I was 14 years old. And when I was at school, the local police used to run a competition, a match fishing competition for kids. And I'll never forget it. I only did it twice, but the second time, you used to get like a notice up on the notice board, and that it was happening on a certain date, and you phone up, and they'd send you an app, or the teacher would give it an application form. They'd send it, and then they'd call you and invite you to fish in it. And I did, and I fished it. Obviously, this is a big old water, 40 odd acres, but it's actually full of fish. It used to be anyway. I don't always like these days, but there was loads of roach and perch and things like that. So they used to run this competition for the kiddies, and that moment for me was the first time I'd ever fished a competition, but B, fished anything other than the canal and the river, as you obviously the river in the last programme in the Chub video, which was obviously my home river where I was brought up on the river. And I can remember coming over here with my dad, and I can remember fishing a waggler float, and not far out either, but the rules stated that it was strictly kids only. You was not allowed any help whatsoever from your parents, which was fair enough. I can remember catching loads of roach and rudd, and I remember I caught a bream about £3, and my dad and my brother had been walking round while I was fishing, and nobody had caught much, and I was winning. They were absolutely convinced that I was winning. Now the guy in the swim next to me, this kiddie, his dad was helping him all the time on hook fish, and my dad got really angry about it. He said, hang on a minute, this is not right. And he spoke to one of the guys that were running it, and he said, oh no, it's alright, he's just helping unhook it. But with about 15 minutes of this match to go, and I've never forgot this, it traumatised me for life. I'm match fishing anyway. He hooked a good fish. It's a big bream it was. It's like £6, £7. And his dad played it for him and landed it. And when we did the weigh-in, we weren't very happy about it. I was only 14. I was devastated. So he can't do that. So we got to the weigh-in, we explained it. I said, like, this guy's cheating. He's not allowed. His dad helped him play it, but they hadn't seen it by all accounts, and he was denying it. But he was on the swim next to me. We stood watching him, and I got pipped to second by that kid. He won by £1. So had he not caught that fish, or his dad hadn't helped him, he was younger than me. He was a lot younger than me, this kid. I would have won the match. And I was so angry. So peed off as a kid. You got a trophy and like a prize. And I got like a certificate, I think, coming second. I'll tell you, I was not happy. Traumatised me. I've never been into match fishing ever since. An egret just flew across. Yeah, I was not a happy bunny at all. So that's I often think of that when we quite often come to Kingsbury Water Park with the kids and the grandkids, and every time I walk near the swim, it's actually at the top end of this lake. I always tell that story. It's traumatised. So yeah, this was definitely a water that shaped me. It shaped me into not being a match angler. Never got over it. Bloody hell, what a cheat. Dirty cheat. But since then, I've fished it a few times over the years, Kingsbury. It's ridiculous really, because I literally live 5-minute drive away from here. And I can remember when I first moved back from Norfolk. I used to live in Norfolk, as you may or may not know, and I lived literally within 5 minutes, 10-minute drive of the centre of the Norfolk Broads. So let me tell you, I was spoiled when it comes to pike fishing. And I was lucky enough to catch 2 30-pounders off the Broads and numerous 20s. And when I moved back to the Midlands to run a fishery, actually it was, So I used to run a fishery in Norfolk after I come out of the RAF. And then I got a job up here on a fishery. And I remember thinking, well, having fished the Norfolk Broads for 10 years, I literally thought, what is the point of pike fishing up here? Because it's never ever going to be as good as the Broads. It's like the mecca of pike fishing, isn't it? And it sort of put me off. And the only pike fishing I tend to do these days is down there. It's down the Norfolk Broads. I go down there once, maybe twice a year. I do go pike fishing here. I tend to go on the rivers. But I don't do as much pike fishing as I used to. I used to live on the bank. So I used to at least 2 days a week on the Broads. But yeah, not these days. But yeah, I have fished Kingsbury. I fished one of the other pools once, about 5-6 years ago, I believe, and I did actually catch one. It was on one of the smaller waters, one of the runs waters, and they were only jacks, so like small pike. So yeah, but I've read a lot about this pool, Bodymore Heath. There's meant to be some real proper pike here, I mean like 20 plus. And I know there is because Andy Ellis, AE Fisheries, they do the management on here. And he was telling me when they've done netting on here and electro-fished it, they've had sort of 3 or 4 over 20. And he was the one who advised me, like, put a bit of time in on here, there's some good fish. But I've got a feeling it's not going to be easy. This is not going to be a water you're going to turn up at and catch every time. No way. It's too big. It's too big a sheet of water. And we don't even know how many pike are in here. It's not like, you know, it might not be 48 acres of water or whatever it is. You know, if there's not many pike in here, you've got to just out your land on them. I hope I have, because that was definitely an aborted take we had earlier. So there's obviously a fish here. But yeah, it's actually quite a nice afternoon now. But yeah, we'll plod on. As I say, I've just put a couple of fresh baits on. Do you know, I am surprised though I haven't had a take off the sunken tree. So much cover there in an otherwise, you know, sort of featureless, really. I'd say featureless water. But yeah, you're always learning when you fish water like this. So even if I don't catch that, I'll go away and I'll know better for next time. You know, I can tweak, try different things. But I think about, I'm certain I'm in the right area. You know, pike don't always feed. Pike will have feeding spells like anything else. Any other species of fish. You know, you can sit all day and not catch, and then all of a sudden you'll get that feeding period and they'll just, you know, you'll catch. So, yeah, we've got plenty of time yet. Yeah, it's just a shame, as I said earlier, that Kingsbury, you have to be off by 5. I think the gates close at 5 o'clock, which is crazy, really. But, yeah, we'll crack on, and hopefully we'll catch. If not, don't matter. It's a beautiful afternoon now, you know, winter's afternoon. It's so nice. Sun's out. Considering what it was like this morning, absolutely vile. Everything's still sodden here. Covered in fish scales, slime and wet. Yeah. So every time I cast the float out, I put another couple of inches of depth into it. And what I'm trying to do is get it so it just taps along the top of the weed. But this is just, I cast it to my left, and it's sort of, I cast it in the 11 o'clock position, if you like, on a clock, and now it's sort of at 3 o'clock, so it's come all the way around. So once it's come all the way around, I shall move it, wind it in and chuck it out again. Back to my left, and just sort of work them arcs, sort of vary the distances as well. Started off at range. This one's sort of mid-water now, it's about 20 metres out. So yeah, anyway. Enough of my rattling. I'll bring you back when I'm older than 30 later. We wish. Good morning. So, the last time I spoke to you, we was in the middle of the day. I think it was about 2 o'clock, and we hadn't caught anything. It was hammering it down the rain, and it was just a really grim day. Oh, hold on, I think we may be in, guys. Oh no, here's a tree branch. So yeah, unfortunately, straight after I last spoke to you, the heavens opened and my camera packed up. I was rigging a bait up, I think. I forgot the camera was out, and the heavens opened and the camera wouldn't work. So, and then on top of that, the bailiff came round. He said, "You do realise the gates close at 4?" And he said, "By this time it's like 4:15." I was like, "You have got to be kidding me." So I had to rush, get all my gear put away and rush off. In the ensuing madness, I got one rod left out on the float. I looked round and it had disappeared, and I did have a little jack, about £6-7, which I'll put a picture up here now. So yeah, I couldn't leave it at that. So what I've done, I've returned. This is the Monday. I think I fished on the Friday. Like on Friday I did. I spent 2 hours when I got in cleaning the gear down because it was so muddy, everything was soaking wet, and I thought I can't leave it at that. So I thought, well, do you know what, I'll pop back Monday and have another day. Unfortunately the weather is pants again. It's not as heavy, but it's just grim, grey, miserable really, and raining. So I've got a bag to put over my camera today. So yeah, I mean, I think they are waterproof, but to be honest with you, it was so heavy, the rain, constant really, most of the day. Yeah, I don't think it done it any good whatsoever. I mean, I left it to dry, recharged all the batteries, and it seems to be, touch wood, working fine. So hopefully today's a bit better. I have changed swims. I had a quick wander this morning. Dropped my gear where we fished the other day, and had a quick walk around. There's still a southerly blowing into this corner, but I came in that. If you watch my video on how I sort of approach big waters for pike, and if you haven't done it, the video link's there. I'll put it up here now. I had a wander around the other day, and there was cormorants working the original area that we fished on Friday. But this morning when I came, there was cormorants and grebes between on the next swim along between the bank and the island. There's like a little channel that runs at the back of the island. You'll see it on that original video. So I've dropped in here today. Morning, Mr. Robin. And I've got two popped up bait. I'll tell you what, on the right hand rod I've got a popped up roach close to the island, and on the left hand rod I've got a sardine in a clear spot off the island, or just on the bottom that is. So we'll see how we get on. But yeah, it's another pants all day. It's just, I mean, don't get me wrong, the conditions ain't bad for pike fishing, no, but it's also not very nice. It's not very nice, is it, to fishing? Am I a fine weather fisherman these days? Nah, not really. I don't mind it really. You know, the only thing that annoys me, I can sit all day in there, so I've got all the gear, you know, I've got this suit and it keeps me nice and warm and dry. The issue I have is when you get back and everything's sodden. I'm trying to keep everything dry, but it's not easy, is it? But it'll be worth it for catch a fish. We'll see how we get on. There's a bit to go out in front of me. I've got a couple of trees close in as well, so if I have no luck off the island, I'll keep moving the baits about today. Yeah, but we'll see how we get on. I have had one disaster today. I forgot this the other day when I packed up quick. I unpacked my landing net, and for some bizarre reason I unscrewed the spreader block, and just before I left I noticed it on the floor, so I just chucked it in my pocket. And then we got back in the van, I chucked it on the seat of the van, and guess where it is? So I've come today and I can't set my landing net up, so I've got my landing net ahead, and fortunately in front of me is quite shallow water for about 6 foot out, so I should be alright landing it. Chin it out if I can, if not I've got the end of the landing net, so I should be alright. We'll see. Got to catch one first. So anyway, let's see how we get on. The new video, the chub video from last week, part 2, has gone live. So if you haven't seen that yet, check it out here. It was a really nice video. I revisited basically what was my childhood back garden. So I bought up on a small holding, and I fished down there. I fished it. My family still own the land that surrounds the river. So I went back down there and I caught a cracking chub, as you'll probably see on the video. Have a look. It's a really nice video actually. It's been well received so far. So yeah, have a look at that after this video, obviously. So, but yeah, later on in this video I'm going to catch a 20. Right, thought what I'd do is show you my ledger setup. Let me lift you up a bit. So, it's dead simple. So I've got a Fox ledger stem with a 3-ounce lead, and all that does, that just enables me to, this pops up off the bottom, keeps the line out of the weed. There's quite a lot of weed here. Free running down to a buffer bead, and then on this one I've got a single hook trace. I've just wound this in so it's a bit weedy. Single hook trace, circle hook, and then I've got my bait, in this case a smelt, which is coming off now, and then just to keep it on I'll put a little bait flag. Smelt are quite soft baits, so yeah. And then with a little pop-up ball, little foam ball, thread through, which then hooks onto the hook, and then I put the bait flag on afterwards, obviously hook it through the mouth. But yeah, let's get a fresh bait on this and get it out. Yeah, it's dead simple. We don't need to get technical with pike fishing. So that's definitely seen best today. So get rid of that. Fresh bait. And as you can hear, my alarms are set to the most sensitive I can get, which sometimes can drive you nuts, especially when it's a bit breezy. But yeah, I want to know when as soon as that pike picks that bait up, I want to know about it. And I'll actually show you that now. Actually, let's turn you around. So this is my setup. Let's get you right. So drop off indicator. I've got a fish braid. I've got 50-pound braid on here, and you can see if I just touch that, no bait runner on, the bail arm's off, and as soon as I touch that, look how sensitive it is. Yeah, and the pike will pull that out of the clip. The clip's set, so I only have to touch that and it'll come out the clip. But yeah. But what I'm going to do, I've got 2 out on ledger at the moment. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to swap over one rod to a float setup, because what I want to do is, the breeze is picked up, so what I want to do, it's been quite weedy out in front of me, I'm going to do exactly the same as I did on Friday. Hey up, what we got here? Yeah, I've got quite a lot of debris in the swim. It's blowing straight between the channel and it keeps catching on line, which is what all them bleeps are, driving me mad. Brr, brr. So yeah, we'll set up a float. So what I want to do, I want to chuck it to my left and I just want to drift it around the swim above the weed again like we did on Friday. See how we get on with that. Well, it's getting dark now. It's been, as you could probably tell by the state of me, it's been absolutely relentless rain again all day, and it's been rock hard. I have thrown everything at these Pike. I've been through every single bait in my box. I've used mackerel, smelt, roach, skimmers. What else have I used? Yeah, everything. Sardine, you name it. I've fished towards the surface, I've fished on the bottom, I've popped it above the weed, I've found clear patches and fished there, fished close to the island, fished close to the snags. Not a sniff. But interestingly, I was talking to a guy, there's a guy fishing just up from me. He's gone now actually. But he fishes here every single week. Normally fishes once or maybe even twice a week. Quite often fishes twice a week from October through till March. And last year, in that time, he had 5 fish. 5 fish in 5 months. So that sort of suggests it's clearly a hard water. It's a campaign water. So actually, we're catching that jack on Friday. I did all right by the sound of it. But yeah, it's like I keep saying, it's 48 acres or something like that. It's a big old sheet of water, and it's never going to be an easy water to fish. This, it's really weedy, especially this swim today. It's horrendous, the weed. It's to the surface in places. You know, but look, it doesn't matter. You can't always catch. You know, you don't go fishing to catch every time. It's just not going to happen. You know, and I thought to myself, do I put this video up? And I said to my wife the other day, do we put this video up? You know, I've only caught the one little jack and I never got it on video. She goes, yeah, of course you put it up. You know, because you know, fishing is not about the catching. You don't go fishing. This is, you go fishing to relax and be amongst nature. And you keep telling everybody it's about your mental health and it's nice just to get out and she goes, have you felt the benefit of it? And I said, absolutely, of course I have. She goes, then put it up. And she's right, you know, because I don't go fishing anymore to fish campaigns and catch big fish and catch fish every time I go, because it gets me out of the house and I'll recharge my battery as I reset my mind, as I keep telling everybody on this channel. Have I enjoyed the day today? You better believe I have. It's been a nice day. I've had a robin literally sat on my foot for half an hour earlier on. He literally just kept coming and dropping back onto my foot and just sitting there. So I'll actually check out the footage here. I have a friend. Hello, mate. It's things like this that make every single day on the bank worthwhile. A little robin right on my feet, right there. Hello, mate. Gets any closer, it'll be on my leg. Just to show you how close he is. Almost touch him. How cute is that? Unbelievable. So yeah, but it's knocking on now. It's just getting dark. To compound the misery as well, by the way, and not that it is miserable. I'm still, like I said, it's important to say that I've still had a really nice day today. I've had a nice chat with the other angler. I will say that he only had sort of, I think he said 5 or 6 fish last year. 2 of them were sort of Well, I think he said one was 24, and the biggest one he had was nearly just under £26. And I asked him what keeps him coming here if it's that hot, and he said because he's absolutely convinced it will do a 30, which is all well and good if you want to come and spend time on a water like that, blanking after blank. I've done it before. I've campaign fished. I was obsessed with catching £30 pike on the Norfolk Broads 20 years ago, and I did in the end, but I put in thousands of hours, just blank after blank after blank after blank, you know. But I've been there, done that. I don't want to do that anymore. If people want to do it, fair play to them. If that's what makes them happy, then good on them. But that's not why I go fishing anymore. Let's see. There's a couple of egrets just landed in the tree. I don't know whether you'll see them. Hold on. I don't think I'll get in close enough. They're in that tree over there. Not sure it's zoomed in a lot far enough to see them. Look! That. Hang on, let me zoom you back out. How do I do that? No, I'll leave it. So there's another egret coming in now. But yeah, it's just getting dark now. I'm actually past the time where the gates close by all accounts. But I've been told by a reliable source that they never do close the gates. So people quite often stay here till sort of 5 or just after dark and then go home. So I bloody hope so. I hope he's telling the truth, because if not, I'm locked in. So yeah, but yeah, I was saying what compounded the misery earlier on was that a gull dived down. He was disappeared. Next thing I know, my alarm went screaming off. Flew off with my bait and dropped it, but he dropped it into a tree. So I lost all the rig. This swine. But yeah, it's absolutely relentless rain again. It's chucking it down now. My hands are freezing, everything's soaking wet. I've literally nearly run out of bait. I threw that much at it today, trying to catch one for the camera. But for the most part of the day today, I've had the camera covered with a bag because it's been so wet again. I didn't want to risk it breaking again. So look, I mean, I'm actually squinting because the rain's so hard. Hat's wet through. I keep putting my hood up, and because it's windy, it keeps blowing it off. I mean, the rain's that hard, it keeps setting the alarm off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it another half an hour, maybe. So we're starting to lose the line now, but I like this time for pike, so it's always worth. That's another egret gone into the tree, so they're obviously coming into roost. There's 4 of them in the tree now. So cute, they're beautiful birds. So yeah, that's 2 days, 1 jack. So that's not a very good return really. But I've got the ducks down here now, finished polishing the rest of my dead baits off. Another egret's coming in. That's 5 in one tree. Oh my life, look at them all. Wow, that is amazing. There's my bag, by the way, for the camera. Yeah, so look, I say it's been a couple of really hard days, but that just goes to show that's angling for you. You know, you can't always catch. We've been lucky on the first couple of videos. Caught a lovely £5 chub. Caught a couple of nice, 3 or 4 nice sander on the first video. You know, and this one we've only caught a little jack. But it is what it is. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so remember, we don't go fishing to catch fish. We go to be amongst nature, and we've certainly been amongst nature today. So we've had the robin, we've got the egrets here. You know, seen herons, seen a kingfisher again, seen plenty of geese about, some grey lag, and a friendly rat running off with dead baits. You know, so and plenty of ducks. So yeah, and I've sat here. It's been wet, it's been cold, it's miserable. Do you know what? It's actually still been really enjoyable. In fact, I've really enjoyed today. just sat here watching the water and watching the wildlife, the animals. Yeah, it's just good. I enjoy it. I love it. I do. And I feel so much better for it. There's a duck just bumped into my line. So yeah, anyway, that was this video. I'm sorry I couldn't get one on camera for you. But it doesn't matter. It's not about that. Remember, if you are suffering mental health, if you are struggling away about in life, never, ever, ever, ever be ashamed to phone the Samaritans. Never be ashamed to speak to a friend or a family member. You are brave. You're a brave person. You're completely opposite. You should never be ashamed. You should be actually brave. You should consider yourself brave to tell somebody. Tell somebody if you're struggling. Don't let it fester, because it'll only get worse. Trust me, I know more than most. No, just get it out. If you want to leave a message, and I'll message you back. You want to talk? I'm always here to talk. You only got to private message me on Facebook, Cast for Calm, and I'll help as best I can. So yeah. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It will help me out. It's free. All you need is an email address. Subscribe to us. Like the video. That's important. And by all means, leave a comment below. So until next time, unless I catch a fish, I'll see you back. But if I don't, which is not looking good, let's face it, yeah, I'll catch you next time. And if I'm a bit stuttery, it's because it's this rain, it's vile. Anyway, I'll see you next time.